it's Maya coming to you with another video. And if you want to see how I've made this delicious coconut stew callaloo with butter beans, let's get cooking. So my friends, to make this coconut stew callaloo with butter beans, you're going to need a tomato, an onion, some garlic. I'm going to put some garlic in it, my friends, because I like garlic. You need cumin, lima beans or butter beans. Make sure you have a can of callaloo, my friends. Coriander, coconut milk. I'm also going to put in some scallion in it, my friends. You also need some turmeric, and I'm going to put some Scotch bonnet pepper as well in there. Okay, I might end up tipping some black pepper as well, my friends. So let's get cooking. So the first thing that we want to do, my friends, is cut up the onions. Let's prepare the onions and all the fresh seasoning, and then we can carry on. So this recipe is not my own, my friends. It's one of my friends at work made this recipe and brought it in for me to taste it, and I thought, wow, this is wonderful. So I am giving that friend credit for this recipe. It's absolutely delicious, my friends, and this is a vegan meal because we're not using any animal fat at all. Okay, so that's, now you want to dice up the onions. Okay, so let's do that. And again, of course, my friends, I never have the proper knives, so I'm going to just dice up the onions. I'm going to do the same with the scallion. I'm just gonna dice them up. Yeah, so as I said, this is, you know, it's a cheap recipe to do, my friends. Quick, in less than half an hour you're going to have your dinner ready to go, and it's 100% vegetarian and it's vegan. Okay, so I'm chopping up my garlic, and I put 2 cloves of garlic in there, my friends. You're going to see how quickly we move with this recipe, my friends. I swear, within less than 5 minutes, this meal will be ready, and you're going to see how fast and easy this is. Okay, so I have this already. Okay, so the tomatoes, my friends, when you do the tomatoes, you want to cut them in a rough cut, like this. Okay, you want all that deliciousness in your meal. Okay, so just cut it rough like this. You don't have to chop it up. You want it to be a little bit rough. Okay, and that's all the preparation you need, my friends, right now. That's all the preparation. So it's 1 medium tomato that I've used. You can use a large tomato, or this is probably a large tomato. Okay, there it is, nice and rough, and that's it. Okay, so I'm going to open my can of callaloo and the coconut cream and the butter bean, and then we're going to come right back. Okay. Okay, my friends, here we are over at the stove, and for our coconut stew callaloo with butter bean, we're going to start off with 2 tablespoons of oil. I have olive oil in there. You can use whatever oil you have, my friend. Okay, and I'm going to put all that seasoning in it. That's wonderful. Okay, so now I'm going to add the cumin. I'm going to add a teaspoon of cumin. Okay, so let's add a teaspoon of cumin to this wonderfulness. Okay, a teaspoon of cumin goes in there. I'm also going to have 2 teaspoons of coriander. Okay, so 2 teaspoons. And you can add less of any of these ingredients, my friends, if you want to. It's up to you. Okay, now I forgot to tell you that we need paprika, my friends. So let's get some paprika in there as well. You want all that. Oh, 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 you didn't see that, my friend. You didn't see that. You need all that wonderfulness in there. I'm also going to put some crushed red peppers in, because you know I like my spice, my friends. And I'm going to still add some ooh, that smells so good in here, my friends. Okay, let's wipe this up so it doesn't look like that. Okay, my friends, this is cooking so nicely. Okay, now with this, I'm going to put in a little bit of turmeric. I'm just going to put in maybe a pinch of turmeric, my friends. Okay, not too much, maybe a pinch and a half. And then I'm going to add my tomatoes in here. I'm going to add my tomatoes in there, and I'm going to stir this around. And I'm just going to have the tomato cook for a little bit. Oh, this smells so wonderful in here, my friends. Now, the stove is on medium-low. I hope you guys can see all that deliciousness. Oh, the stove is on medium-low. And I'm going to let this cook for about a minute. And then the coconut milk, my friends, I'm going to add all that wonderfulness. All that water in the coconut milk, my friends, will help to cook the tomato down. You don't want the tomatoes too soft, my friends. You want it to be just hard enough so that when you take a bite out of your meal, you still have like a nice piece of tomato. Okay, so look at that lovely color, my friends. This is what you want to see. I'm adding some Scotch bonnet pepper. Remember to handle the pepper with a fork, because you don't want to get all that thing on your hand. Okay, so we're going to let this cook for about 2 minutes, and then we're going to add our callaloo. Okay? Okay, my friends, this is cooking nicely. I'm going to tip some black pepper in it as well. And this is when you want to taste it to make sure you're satisfied with the taste. Okay, now you can also tip a little bit of sugar, my friends, in there. I don't think I want to do that, so I'm going to leave out the sugar. But this is when you will put your callaloo in. This is a great recipe that you'd want to use fresh callaloo with, but I only have the canned callaloo and it tastes just as good. Okay, so now this has been cooking for about 2 minutes, and remember, you don't want the tomatoes cooked out. And the callaloo I have drained, so I'm going to add that to that yumminess. Okay, and remember, the callaloo is already cooked, my friends, so all you want to do is heat it through. Okay, that's all you're doing now. That looks yummy. It smells so good in the kitchen, my friends. You want to try this recipe. You're going to love it. And thanks to my friend for introducing me to this recipe. It is absolutely delicious, my friend. So now you're just heating through the callaloo. That's all we're doing now, my friends. Just heating through the callaloo. It smells amazing in this house. Look how beautiful that looks. Okay, so you just want to heat this through. Now, also the lima beans, my friends. You just put the whole lima beans in as well. Okay, and all you're doing with these, my friends, they're already cooked. All you're doing is heating this through. Okay, so let's stir this up. I'm going to turn down the stove a little bit. Okay, so now it's on low, and I'm just going to let this heat through. And we're going to come back in 1 minute and we're going to plate this. That looks delicious. It looks yummy. This is another half-an-hour meal, my friends. And I promise you, you're going to be in and out of the kitchen in no time. Okay? So here we go. And this is our coconut stew callaloo with butter beans. Okay? All right. That looks yummy. That looks absolutely delicious. Okay. So I'm just going to get this heat through and we're going to come right back in 1 minute. Okay, my friends, I think this has heat through nicely. I'm going to plate this and we're going to come right back. Okay, this is well done. Okay. Okay, let's put some of this niceness, oh, some deliciousness, all that yumminess on my plate. That looks good. That looks good. I hope you guys are able to see this. Here it is, my friends. This is my coconut stew callaloo with butter beans, all nice and ready. I'm serving it with some white rice and it looks absolutely yummy. It tastes delicious too, my friends. I don't think you need to serve this with anything else, my friends. You got the protein from the beans and all that nutrition from the callaloo. I don't think you need anything else with this meal, my friends. It is absolutely looks delicious. Yeah, so go out and try making coconut stew callaloo with butter beans and let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, my friends, and remember, regardless of where you begin, you can end with something better. Thank you for watching.